Good evening, students. Okay, we are going to continue with the lesson. Yesterday we were doing chapter 13, sound, and today we are going to continue with the chapter. Let's see what are we going to learn in today's part. Okay, we are going to understand the characteristics of sound wave. We are going to learn about human ear, its structure and function. We are going to learn about audible and inaudible sound. And finally, we are going to learn about noise pollution, causes, effect and its preventive measure. First of all, let me ask you one question. Am I clearly audible to you all? We can use the chat to give the answers. Okay, let's continue. We are going to understand characteristics of sound wave. We know that sound is produced due to vibration. So what is vibration? We have learned about vibration in our yesterday's session. What is vibration? Vibration is nothing but back and forth movement, isn't it? Back and forth movement is termed as vibration. So it can also be defined as to and fro or back and forth movement of an object about a main position is termed as vibration. We have studied in our earlier classes that such a motion is also called what? Back and forth movement, wherein the motion is repeated after some time. You have learned about different types of motion in your lower classes and it is termed as oscillatory motion, isn't it? So such a motion is also termed as oscillatory motion. So now we are going to understand certain characteristics of this sound wave. Since I have already told you the sound is caused due to vibration and the sound is propagated in form of this sound wave. So there are certain things, there are certain terms that are associated with this sound wave and those we are going to learn in form of their characteristics. So first we have amplitude. Before I explain what is the meaning of word amplitude, let me explain you the meaning of word vibration. What is vibration? As I already told you, it is to and fro movement of an object. And as I already told you, it is also called what? This to and fro movement, it is termed as oscillatory motion. So now, let me give you example of an object which oscillates or which exhibits such motion, that is a pendulum. We are learning about pendulum in our lower classes in standard 7 when we were learning about motion chapter, isn't it? Now let's take a motion of this simple pendulum. Why we choose a pendulum? Why not any other thing? The reason here is pendulum exhibit oscillatory type of motion, okay? A motion similar to the sound wave. So now a pendulum is nothing but a metallic bob or a metallic bob is there and this metallic bob is attached to a string. Now we have started the pendulum. Okay, what we are doing now? The pendulum is started from one extreme end A to the other extreme end. It has started. We have moved the pendulum from the main position to the extreme point A and we have released it. So what is pendulum will do? Pendulum is going to go to the other extreme end, that is to the point B, will reach the point A, come back to the point A again, okay, through this main position O, and again it's going to go to the B point, again through the O point, that is the main position, come back to the A point, and it is going to repeat this movement back and forth. What is such motion called? I already told you what is this motion called. This type of motion is called as oscillatory motion. The motion of a pendulum from one extreme position to the other extreme position and back is known as oscillation. So how you will define an oscillation? The motion of pendulum from one extreme position, that is from point A to the point B, and from point B back to the point A, which will term as one oscillation. So from A to B and from B back to A will be termed as one oscillation. So how this is related to amplitude? Okay, what is amplitude? Maximum distance moved by vibrating or oscillating body from its central position is termed as amplitude. Okay, the maximum distance from center position. Now the mean position, this is the mean position of the pendulum. Okay, it is also called a central position. Okay, from central position, how far it is moving? From O to A. So amplitude will be the distance from O to A or O to B. So what is amplitude? Let me explain you again. Amplitude of a vibration is nothing but maximum distance moved by that vibrating body from the central position. Okay, either from O to A or it will be O to B. Okay, in both cases it is either from O to A, so the amplitude will be O to B. If I want to explain you in terms of a sound wave, okay, so let me draw a diagram for you, a wave pattern. Okay, this particular picture is a sound wave. Okay, so here you can see some elevation, some depression region. This elevation region, okay, and there is some depression region. Okay, elevation region in the sound is termed as crest. What are the elevations called? Elevation of a sound wave, it is called term as crest. So you can see the mountain-like structure that you can observe in this wave diagram are all crest. Okay, and the depression-like structure, valley-like region over here that you can see in the sound wave is termed as trough. Okay, that's called trough or trough. Okay, so the mountain-like structure is called crest and the depression or the valley-like regions are called trough. Okay, so the amplitude will be from this, and this dotted line represent the mean position. What does the dotted line represent? The mean position. What is the another name for mean position? It is also called central position. Okay, so suppose the wave start from here, maximum height of a crest or a height of a trough. Okay, that will be termed as amplitude. Okay, so depending on the height, the amplitude can be different. Okay, so what is amplitude? First of all, to understand what is amplitude, we have understood what is oscillation. Back and forth movement is also termed as oscillatory motion, and we have understood what is one oscillation. The motion of pendulum from O to A and from A to B and from B back to A is termed as oscillation. And this maximum distance that is covered by this vibrating body from the central position to one extreme end is termed as amplitude. So either O to A or O to B will be the amplitude. In terms of a wave diagram, that's the second part that I have already told you. In terms of wave diagram, what it will be? The height of a crest or the height of a trough. So I can simply write amplitude as height of crest, okay, or the height of trough. Okay, understood this part? Is clear? Okay, let me give you one example. I have wave 1. Okay, let me draw a one wave for you. And let me draw another wave diagram for you. Which wave shows the bigger amplitude? Which wave diagram? Diagram 1 or diagram 2? There are two diagrams that I have drawn. Diagram 1 and diagram 2. Which diagram shows you the bigger amplitude or the more distance? Yes, definitely the one is showing the distance is the height is more, isn't it? Or the height of a crest or height of a draw is more in case of 1. What about diagram 2? The height is less. So here amplitude is more. So more amplitude. Here the amplitude is less in terms of diagram. Okay, I think this is clear to you all. Let us move to the next characteristics, that is time period. Okay, what is time period? Now, what is the meaning of word time period? Time period is nothing but time taken for one oscillation. What is one oscillation? How do you define one oscillation? I have already explained you one oscillation. Okay, one oscillation is nothing but the motion of pendulum from one extreme position to the other extreme position and back is termed as oscillation. Now the motion of pendulum from one extreme position from here to here. Okay, let me draw with the pen. So from A to B and from B back to the A. Okay, this will be one oscillation. What it will be? One oscillation. So how much time is taken for completing this one oscillation is termed as time period. The time required to produce complete one oscillation is termed as time period. You can also write this in terms of a formula. Okay, what is that? Time period is nothing but a time upon the number of oscillation or number of vibration. You can find out what will be the time period for a given pendulum by calculating how much times it oscillates in 1 minute. Okay, and then you can find out for completing one oscillation how much time it taking, 2 seconds, 1 second, 3 seconds accordingly. Okay, let me give you one example. Suppose a pendulum oscillate for 60 times in a minute. Okay, and a pendulum oscillates 60 times in a minute. In 1 minute, it oscillates how many times? 60 times. Find out the time period. Find out the time period. Okay, how do we do that? Time period is equal to total time upon the number of oscillation. Okay, what is the number of oscillation here? In this example, what is the number of oscillation? In this example, the time is 1 minute means 60 and number of oscillation is also 60. So what will be the answer? 60 will divide by 61. So the time period is 1 second. So what's the time period? It is 1 second. Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, now in example 2, another pendulum, it is oscillating for 120 times in a minute. How many times? 120 times in a minute. What will be the oscillation? Again the same formula. Time period, okay, is equal to total time upon the number of oscillation. Okay, so total time is how much? Number of oscillation. That is total time is again 60. Okay, and number of oscillation is 120. Now 60 ones are 60. 60 to the 120. So answer is half, which is nothing but 0.5 second. So what will be the answer now? 0.5 second in this case. Understood this example too? Okay, and time period. Okay, let us move on to the next characteristic. So far we have seen what is amplitude, we have seen what is time period. Let us see what is the meaning of word frequency. Frequency is nothing but number of vibration or oscillation per second. Okay, in 1 second, how many times the wave is vibrating or oscillating. Okay, that will be the frequency. The frequency is expressed in terms of hertz. What's the unit of frequency? It is hertz. It is called, pronounced as hertz, and while writing we write it as capital H and capital small letter Z. Okay, HZ. Okay, that's the unit of frequency. If an object oscillates or vibrates 40 times in 1 second, then its frequency will be 40 hertz. Okay, now there is a formula again, like how we have done for the time period frequency. There is a formula, the number of oscillation or vibration upon the time taken. So in this example here, okay, if an object oscillating how many times? 40 times. And what's the time duration? For 1 second. Okay, so number of oscillation vibration is 40, and for 1 second, that means its frequency is 40. What will be the frequency? 40. And while writing the unit as Z. Okay, now what is this frequency? The two picture I have shown. Okay, in one picture, for picture 1, I have written there high frequency, and picture 2 low frequency. Can you look at the wave pattern? If I draw mean position, can you look at the number of crest and number of trough? Okay, let me count the number of crest. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you just define frequency simply how many crests or how many trough are formed by that particular wave in per given time. Okay, in 1 second. In 1 second, how many times it is forming this crest, or how many times it is forming a trough. Okay, so in this picture 1, you can see total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it is forming 12 crests. Whereas in picture 2, how many crests are formed? Just 1 and 2. So whose frequency will be more? Pattern 1 or pattern 2? Definitely pattern 1 frequency is more than pattern 2, right? Because the number of crests here formed is 12, whereas in pattern 2 it is forming just 2. Okay, let me give you another word example. Okay, let us change this number. If an object oscillate or vibrate 40 times, so just take it as 60 times in 2 seconds, and change the time as 60 times in 2 seconds. Now find out the frequency. Okay, in example 2, what I have done, same statement. If an object oscillate or vibrate 60 times in 2 seconds, so the number of oscillation is, in example 2, how many times it while oscillating? So number of oscillation is equal to 60. What about the time? Time is 2 seconds. So the formula is frequency F is equal to number of oscillation or vibration upon time, that is 60 divided by 2. So what will be the answer? 60 upon 2, that is 30. And what's the unit? What's the unit? 30 hertz. Vignesh has already given that answer in the chat. Very nice. Chinmay followed with Chinmay. Very, very good. Okay, so we have understood the third characteristic, the frequency of a sound wave and how to calculate it. Okay, now frequency, as I already told you, what is the frequency definition? Number of wave passing through one point at particular time period. Okay, so frequency, depending on the this number of wave passing through number of waves that are passing through that given point in that particular time period, we have high frequency and something called low frequency. Okay, high frequency, in high frequency the number of crests are more. Can you count how many crests are there, or how many, or you can also count it as one crest, one trough. Okay, so in this case it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and half. Okay, so if you join this half, so it will be 8. So if you just take it as this way, so when you are counting, one complete wave will be like this: one crest, one trough. Okay, that's called one wave. One wave. So one crest, 1, 2 is one wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 complete wave. In this case, how many complete wave? From here to here, 1, and that's the half, and this half if we join, that will be 2. Okay, how many waves? 2 waves. Okay, so whose frequency is more? Diagram 1 or diagram 2? You may get a question for exam. Identify from the given picture which diagram is exhibiting more frequency. So the diagram 1 is showing more frequency or high frequency, whereas diagram 2 is showing the low frequency. So now both the high the frequency, okay, and the high the frequency, high energy content will be. If low the frequency, low energy content will be. So if the particular wave is showing the more frequency, that means it will be highly energetic wave. If the particular wave is showing the low frequency, that means the energy content is low. So the high frequency sound will carry more high frequency sound will carry more energy, whereas and the sound are louder, and the low frequency sound waves are sound a little bit softer. Okay. Now the frequency of sound wave. Again, let us do it, and let us try. Based on the frequency, there is another characteristics that come into picture over here, or that you can say a unique property of sound wave. Okay, if a high frequency means it is called high pitch sound. What we call it? High frequency as high pitch sound. Low frequency means low pitch sound. The frequency of a sound wave is nothing but the speed of vibration. That is how many times a sound wave is there, complete sound wave is there in that particular diagram. In this diagram, how many crests are there? 1, 2, 3. In this diagram, if I just ask you the one complete, half and half, another complete, so 2 crest is there. So this one is just 2, and whereas this one is having 3 crests. That means this is high frequency sound wave, that's a low frequency sound wave. High frequency sound wave is called high pitch sound. What is it called? High pitch sound. Low frequency sound wave is termed as low pitch sound. Okay, so 2 terms here that are associated with that. One is high frequency sound wave, one is low frequency sound wave. The high frequency sound wave is what I told you. What is it called? High pitch sound. Low frequency sound wave is termed as low pitch sound. Now, the frequency determines the pitch of a sound, and we measure the frequency, as I already told you, in terms of hertz. Okay, so with that, here comes the unique properties of sound. That is, another unique property is loudness. Okay, the first property that we have, all this time we were learning characteristics. We have learned about characteristics, 3 characteristics. One was first one. I have explained you what is amplitude. Then we have understood what is time period, and we have understood what is the meaning of word frequency. These 3 are the characteristics of sound wave. Now we are moving on to the properties of sound wave. First property is loudness. How loud is the sound? Okay, कितना word आवाज येता. So loudness of sound depends on the amplitude of vibration. Okay, loudness depends on 2 factors. One is amplitude. Okay, one is amplitude. Other one is the distance. Let me explain you the first factor that determines the loudness, that is amplitude. Okay, let me draw a wave pattern. Okay, then you tell me the edge of this particular wave. And the diagram 2. In which diagram amplitude is more? I have already explained you what is amplitude in the previous slide. Okay, which diagram is showing more amplitude, maximum distance? In which diagram, 1 or diagram 2? Yes, diagram 2 is having more distance. So which Which sound will be louder? Wave diagram 1 or wave diagram 2? Since the amplitude is louder here the amplitude is more, so it will be louder sound. It will be louder sound. Okay, loud sound. Whereas here the amplitude is less. Okay, it will be amplitude is less. It will be soft or feeble sound. Okay, feeble is another word for feeble sound here. Now this amplitude is very important factor for determining the loudness. More the amplitude, louder will be the sound. Less the amplitude, softer or feeble will be the sound. Okay, clear? Okay, in the this diagram only, let me draw another wave like this. Okay, there are two wave pattern in the same diagram. One is shown with the red color, other one is shown with the blue color. Whose loudness is more? Wave 1, that is red color, or wave 2 or blue color wave? Which loudness will be more? Or which wave will be exhibiting the loud sound? Yes, the wave with the blue color whose loudness is more. That means it will have amplitude is more, that means the sound will be louder. The amplitude is less, that means the sound will be feeble or soft sound. So the loudness is very important when it comes. So in loudness, amplitude is very important when it comes to understand what is loudness. Second important thing, distance. Okay, as I have already told you, suppose that's a source over here. Okay, here is the source. Here the sound is getting produced. Suppose the bell is the school bell. Okay, when we ring the school bell or the temple bell. Okay, this one is here and the listener is here. So the distance between the source and the listener is very important. Okay. If the listener is closer to the source, the sound will be louder or softer. If the listener is closer to the source, sound will be louder. Isn't it? And if the distance between the source and the listener is more, in that case the sound will be softer or feeble sound. Okay, feeble sound or softer sound. Clear? The loudness depends on two factors. What are the two factors that determine the loudness? One is amplitude, other one is the distance. Second, okay, in this picture, you can see it very clearly. Picture 1 and picture 2. Picture 1 is having smaller amplitude. Picture 2 is having large amplitude. So in picture 1, the sound will be quieter or softer or feeble sound. Whereas in picture 2, the sound will be louder. So as I have already told you, loudness is determined by two factors. One is amplitude. What is the other factor that determines the loudness? That is the distance between the source and the listener. If the listener is closer to the source of sound, the sound will be louder. If the listener is far away from the source of sound, in that case, sound will be feeble or softer. The loudness of a sound is measured in terms of decibel. How do we measure the loudness? We measure the loudness in terms of decibel, and decibel is the unit of loudness. While writing, we write it as D small and B capital. For what is the unit of frequency? I have already explained you what is frequency. There I have told you the unit. Yes, the unit is hertz, isn't it? And while writing, we write it as capital H. Okay, capital H and small letter Z. Whereas the loudness, we just write it opposite. Small letter D and capital letter B. DB. Decibel. So here is a small unit of some sound. In terms of decibel loudness, the loudness of a sound is given. When you softly whisper in someone's ear, the how much decibel sound is produced? It's a 10 decibel. How loudly it is? 10 decibel. A normal conversation, when you are normally talking with your friends, when you have a communication with your parents or maybe your friends or maybe anyone nearby, the loudness is 30 decibel. In a breezy traffic, okay, the loudness is 60 decibel. Telephone dial tone, the loudness is 70 decibel. Train whistle is 90 decibel. Hand drill, it is 98 decibel. Okay, when you are doing the drills practice, that time it's a 98 decibel. A jet engine, how loudly it is? 140 decibel. Now what is the quietest sound that a human ear can detect? Is the 0 decibel. Up to 0 decibel, a human ear can detect the sound. Sound lower than that, a human ear is unable to detect such sound. Okay, the loudness less than 0 decibel, we will not able to detect the sound. So the noisy area will be having more decibel and the other area is showing the less number. Okay, now another example is of the loud sound is 190 decibel. When the rocket are been launched, how much, what's the loudness that is being exhibited by that particular rocket while launching? It is 190 decibel. This is very much enough to damage some people's ear permanently. Okay, there is certain up to certain decibel a human ear will able to tolerate the loudness. Beyond that, a human ear cannot tolerate that much of loudness. It become unbearable, and sometimes it can permanently lead to permanently loss of hearing sensation of the ear. Then another property is pitch. Pitch depend on frequency. Who determine the pitch? Frequency. In the previous slide I have told you, higher the number of frequency, it is called high pitch sound. Low frequency, it is called low pitch sound. Okay, here which factor determine the frequency? It is the pitch which a frequency that determine the pitch. So if the frequency is less, it will be low pitch sound. If the frequency is high, then it will be high pitch sound. Okay, let me explain you with the help of example. For example, a drum, okay, is shown this wave pattern, whereas when you whistle is shown this wave pattern. So whose pitch is high? The sound of a drum or the sound of a whistle? Understand the diagram and tell me which one is showing high frequency wave pattern. High frequency wave pattern is shown by the sound of the whistle, isn't it? This is a high frequency. What about the sound wave of a drum? It is low frequency. So whose voice or whose sound will be high pitch, drum or whistle? It is the drum which is having low pitch sound. Okay, low pitch sound, whereas a whistle is high pitch sound. Okay, pitch is also known as shrillness. Okay, it is also term, and another word for pitch is shrillness. So what is the another term for the pitch? We also call the pitch as shrillness. So shrillness is nothing but number of frequencies. Okay, if more the frequency, it will be high pitch sound. less the frequency, it will be low pitch sound. Okay, so example, other than drum, we have the sound of an adult. When adults speak, it's a low pitch sound. If the another example of a high pitch sound can be a sound of a baby. When a baby cries, it's a high pitch sound. Okay, pinro basa आवाज कानान बसता म्हणतात तो. So it's called pitch. Okay, shrillness also very important factor in determining the characteristics or the properties of sound. So lion, sound of a lion, it is very appears to be louder. Okay, louder sound. Okay, so louder sound and softer sound can be a high pitch and low pitch sound as well. For example, let me draw a diagram and let me explain. Okay, here let's draw mean position. Whose frequency is more? Whose frequency is more? Diagram 1 or diagram 2? Just count the number of crests. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas in this case, 1, 2, 3. So which one is having high pitch sound and which one is having low pitch sound? Diagram 1 or diagram 2? High pitch is which one? Where the number of crest is more, it's a high pitch. Okay, high frequency sound. Where the number of crest is less, a low frequency or low pitch. So the diagram 1 is high pitch. Diagram 2 is low pitch. But if I ask you now, which one is louder sound? Diagram 1 or diagram 2? Look at the height. Look at the height of the sound crest. Look at the height. Whose height is more? Okay, let me draw height. So amplitude is the height. This one. So whose amplitude is more? Amplitude here is less. So this one is having low amplitude, means a softer sound, isn't it? Whereas this is having high amplitude, so a louder sound. So here in this picture we have seen connection between the pitch and the other characteristic, that is loudness. A loudness, high pitch sound can be a soft sound, whereas a low pitch sound can be a louder sound. So which factor determines the pitch? It is the frequency that determines the pitch of a sound. Okay, that's very important. So two characteristics we have learned. One is loudness, second one is pitch. So the pitch of a man voice falls under low frequency. Okay, we say the voice of a man is low pitch, whereas the voice of a woman is high pitch. So the man is showing low pitch sound, whereas a woman is having high pitch sound. In case of diagram, it will be something like this. Okay, number of crest will be more in case of woman, whereas in case of man it will be less. Okay, like this. Okay, done, clear. So the woman is showing high pitch sound and man is showing a low pitch sound. Let us now come to the main part of the lesson, that is the structure of human ear. Human ear is divided into three regions or three parts. What are the three parts? The outer region, the middle ear, okay, that's the middle ear, and the inner region. Outer ear, okay, that's also called as pinna. What's the another name for the outer ear? You can touch the ear. So whatever part that you can touch is called a pinna. What is it called? The pinna, that's the outer ear. That's the middle ear. Okay, and we have the inner ear. Let us see and understand each one of them in detail. The structure of human ear. What is the name of the outer ear? What is the another name for outer ear? It's called the pinna. So pinna is the outer ear which collects the sound wave. So this function of this pinna is to collect the sound wave. Then sound wave travels and pass into the middle ear. Okay, the sound wave pass through the ear canal. Okay, that is the middle ear. So middle ear comprises of this passage that is called a ear canal. What is that middle passage called in the ear? It is called a ear canal. Okay, so the sound wave after touching the pinna will reach to the next part. Which is that next part? It is the ear canal. Okay, at the end of the ear canal there is a thin membrane which is called a eardrum. Okay, there is a thin membrane like this, that's called the eardrum. Okay, this membrane vibrates. Okay, this vibrates. What does it do? It vibrates. So this part of the ear, this eardrum will vibrate, and then there is the inner ear which comprises of the bones. Okay, I will explain you each part in detail. So the human ear structure is divided into three parts: outer part, middle part, inner part. Outer part is called pinna. Middle part comprises of ear canal, its end with eardrum, and the inner ear comprises of three small bones. Okay, so once the ear, the sound wave reaches over here and it strikes this eardrum will start vibrating, will start moving back and forth. Okay, so it will start moving back and forth, and it is going to be touched by these three little bones which are there inside the ear. One is called the hammer, anvil, and stirrup. How many bones are there in the inner ear? Inner ear is made up of three smaller bones. Okay, there's the general knowledge part over here. In the inner ear, we have the smallest bones. There are three smallest bones. First, the bone which is attached to the drum is called the hammer. Okay, then we have the anvil and the stirrup. When I am explaining the working, that time you will understand the function of each of these parts in detail. Okay, so as I have told you, what is the function of the outer ear? To collect sound wave. So sound wave is being collected by the outer ear. So that what is the another name for outer ear? It is called pinna. So then the waves are passed into the middle ear. What is the name of middle part of the middle ear? This part where it is passing, it's called a ear canal. Then it's going to strike the eardrum. Eardrum is going to vibrate. Okay, this vibration will be moved onto the inner ear with the help of these three bones which are present in the inner ear. Which are the three bones? Hammer, stirrup, and anvil. These are the three bones. Okay, then in the inner ear, what happens? Sound waves are converted into electrical signals. So sound waves are getting converted into electrical signal by the part of the ear called cochlea, and then it is sent to the brain through the auditory nerve. Okay, why it is sending to the brain now? The brain is going to detect what type of sound it is. Brain is going to analyze. Suppose the brain have heard this sound for more than once time. Suppose it is the sound of your mother. Now you know that brain, you immediately start analyzing who is speaking. Okay, my mother is speaking. I know that this sound is of my mother. Okay, and then you are able to identify who's are. Nowadays, when it's a pandemic situation and now we are taking classes over the online, now I can identify some of your voices. Okay, not everyone, some of your voices I can identify. Immediately someone is speaking, I know this one is speaking. Okay, how? My brain has already registered your sound, and that's the reason I can able to analyze. So brain is then interpreting the signal, and then brain is trying to analyze. Suppose a bird is chirping. Suppose a particular animal is there. Suppose a cat is producing the sound by mewing. Okay, so you know that a cat is, the sound is of cat. Okay, dog is barking. We know that the sound is of dog. Okay, all these things are being analyzed by the brain. Okay, let us try to understand with the help of animation. So what is the first part? We have the outer part. What is the outer part called? Outer ear. It is called the pinna. What is the function? to collect sound wave. To collect sound wave. Then we have the second part, that's the middle ear. What's the function of the middle ear? What's the function of the middle ear? That is, the middle ear is the ear canal. Okay, what's the function of this ear canal? To pass the sound wave. To pass the sound wave. And what happens at the end of the ear canal? What is there? That's the eardrum, isn't it? That's the eardrum. What's happening to the eardrum? Look at the animation. Once the sound wave strike onto the eardrum, can you see that eardrum is vibrating in the animation? I think it is very clear to you. So eardrum is vibrating. Okay, who is attached to the eardrum? That's the hammer. Okay, then the anvil is then styrofoam. With the help of these three smaller bones, the sound waves are being carried and passed on through the cochlea. So that's a cochlea, this region. Okay, this help in amplification. What's the meaning of amplification? Loudening of the sound is done by the this particular part of the ear, that's called a cochlea. So cochlea amplify the sound wave, and then it will pass the sound wave to the convert the sound wave into electrical signal. And what does it will do? Once it is converted into electrical signal, this electrical signal and then pass on to the auditory nerves. With the help of auditory nerve, they are going to pass on to the brain. What does the brain will do now? What does the brain will do? Brain is going to analyze, brain is going to interpret, and brain is going to detect whose sound it is. Okay, understood the working of human ear? It's very simple. Okay, first we have the outer ear which collect the sound wave. The sound wave are passed on with the help of a inner middle ear, that's the ear canal. It passes on to the eardrum. When the sound will strike on the eardrum, it vibrates with the help of the inner ear bone, three bone, hammer, styrofoam and anvil. The sound waves are being amplified. Okay, sound waves are passed on to the cochlea region. In the cochlea region, what happening to the sound wave? The sound wave are getting amplified, that is, it is becoming bigger and louder. Loudness is increased with the help of cochlea, and it is converted into electrical signal, and from then auditory nerve is converting or taking this electrical signal into the brain, and brain is there analyzing and interpreting, and that's how we can hear that particular sound. Suppose we are hearing that sound for the first time, then we will start asking question, whose sound it is, okay, who are you, okay, and then to try to analyze and try to seek the answer. If you heard that sound for earlier, then brain is detecting and start collecting the data which is there in the brain, and then we know that this is sound of a teacher is speaking now. So I know my teacher's voice. Okay, that's it. Clear? Working is clear to you all? Okay. Now, so I have already explained you what's the function of eardrum. Eardrum vibrates, and these vibrations are sent to the inner ear. What does the inner ear do? What does the inner ear do? Inner ear will pass this. Three bones are there in the inner ear. Okay, in the inner ear, three bones are there. Hammer, styrofoam and anvil. These three bones, what they will do? What they will do? They are going to pass this. For your level, you are not supposed to remember the names of the bones. Okay, so these three bones are then passing this sound wave to the cochlea. What does the cochlea is doing? Converting the sound wave. They convert the sound wave into electrical signal. It will convert it into electrical signal and then pass on to the brain. How it is passing on to the brain? With the help of auditory nerves. Okay. And that's how we are going to analyze and understand whose sound it is. That's the working of the human ear. This part I have already explained you. Okay. We have the outer ear, collect the sound wave. The middle ear, the sound travel to the middle ear, that's the ear canal. Then strike on to the third part, that's the eardrum, which vibrates. Then there are small bones, 3 small bones. Okay, they help in amplification or passing the sound wave to the cochlea region. Okay, the cochlea will then convert the sound wave into electrical signal. So 3 bones are going to amplify the sound, and further the sound amplification is done by the cochlea, which then convert it into electrical signal, and then with the help of auditory nerves, that's the auditory nerve, this auditory nerve will take you to the brain, and brain is going to understand and analyze the sound wave. Okay, then brain is going to interpret it. So now that's the working of the human ear. Now we are coming to the other part of the lesson, last part of the lesson, that is audible and inaudible sound. Okay, audible sound is what? There is audible sound means human body can detect certain sound waves. All the sound we cannot hear of all with the frequency. Human body can detect sound that is produced from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. And that's called audible sound. What is it called? Audible sound. If the sound frequency is less than 20,000 Hz, if it is less than 20,000 Hz, we cannot hear. If it is more than 20,000 Hz, also we cannot hear. So what's the audible sound range? If I ask you this question, you may get it for exam. What is the audible sound range? It will be from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. If you less than 20 Hz, okay, if the sound frequency is less than 20 Hz, it is called infrasonic sound. कसले sound म्हणतात तेंका? It is called infrasonic sound. If it is more than 20,000 Hz, it is called ultrasonic sound. Ultrasonic sound. So what is infrasonic? The sound frequency of less than 20 Hz, it's called infrasonic sound. Sound frequency of more than 20,000 Hz, it is called ultrasonic sound. What's the audible sound range? It is from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. So what's the audible sound range of human being? What's the audible sound range of human being? It's the 20 to 20,000 Hz, that's the audible sound range. Some animal can detect infrasonic sound and some animal can also detect ultrasonic sound. Human being can only detect from 20 to 20,000 Hz. But there are some animals like elephant can detect infrasonic sound. There are some animals like bats can detect ultrasonic sound. Okay. So apart from the audible human sound range, infrasonic sound and ultrasonic sound frequencies are also there, but human body cannot detect, but other animals can detect it. Like I have already given example, elephant can detect the infrasonic sound. Okay, so infrasonic sound can be detected by the elephant. Infrasonic sound waves are also produced during the earthquake or volcanic eruption. Okay, so that's why we cannot detect it. Therefore, some animals you will find them. Okay, they will be like elephant, rhino, and other animals. Apart from elephant, okay, we have rhinoceros that can detect this infrasonic sound. Okay, a rhinoceros. Then we have whales. These can detect this infrasonic sound. Okay, therefore you will find these animals, they immediately they come to know about this natural calamity that is going to happen, that is the earthquake is going to erupt or the volcano is going to start, and the eruption will start at that particular place. Okay, so infrasonic sound waves are being detected by other than elephant, rhino and whale. Who can detect the ultrasonic sound? Okay, ultrasonic sound can be detected. One example I already given you: bat, we have dog, rat, cat, deer, monkey. All these animals can detect ultrasonic sound. We cannot detect it. That's the reason you will find that dogs every now and then they will keep on barking, isn't it? They every now and then they can keep on barking. Okay, and we don't know what's the reason. That is because they can detect the sound wave of higher frequency of 20,000 hertz, which a human body cannot detect. Okay, and these animals can detect those ultrasonic sound wave. Infrasonic sound waves are generally produced by large bodies. Okay, so how you will remember which animal? So the larger the animal, smaller the sound they can detect. So less than 20,000 hertz can be detected by these animals like elephant, rhino. Okay, then we have whale. All these are big animals. So these big animals can detect the smaller sound. Okay, the smaller the animal, they can detect the louder sound. That is the bat, the dog, we have rat, we have cat, we have deer, we have monkey. All these animals can detect the louder sound. That is the ultrasonic sound. Okay, that's the picture of a bat. And with the help of their detection mechanism, that because they can detect the ultrasonic sound, they can able to catch its prey. Okay, if the any animal is there that going to that's the food for the bat, then what they are going to do, they can this transfer this high frequency sound waves, that is ultrasonic sound waves, and they try to analyze there's a prey or the animal which is there, and they can kill that particular animal and can hunt that particular animal. So audible and inaudible sound, as I already told you, audible means that we can hear, inaudible means that we cannot hear. What's the audible sound rate? It is between 20 to 20,000 hertz. We cannot hear less than 20 hertz and we cannot hear more than 20 hertz. Less than 20 hertz is called what? Infrasonic sound. More than 20,000 hertz is called what? Ultrasonic sound. And here you should know the names of certain animals. Okay, less than 20 hertz like elephant, rhino, whales. More than 20,000 hertz animals like bat, rat, dog, cat, deer, monkey. Then comes the last part of the lesson, that is noise and music. Now we know that stereo sound is produced due to vibration. Now, when can we say a particular sound is a noise, or when can we call a particular sound is a musical sound? There has to be something or some sound our human ear like to hear it more and more time. You can call it the pleasant sound. Okay, the more the pleasant sound, that will be a musical sound. When you can define a noise, it can be a unpleasant sound. Now, does the loudness have anything to do with the noise and music? Of course, yes. The loud sound can, but if it is making a rhythmic sound, that can be a musical sound, like loud pop music, but it's a pleasant sound with a rhythmic pattern is forming. Whereas a noise doesn't form a particular wave pattern, it's anyhow haphazard. Okay, a wave will be haphazard, sometimes big like this. In a music, it will be a particular wave pattern will be there. If it is small, then a pattern is repeated. Again, the small, the pattern is repeated. Can you see the pattern is repeated? Whereas in a noise, the wave pattern is not repeated. It can be anyhow. So noise, one point, unpleasant sound is termed as noise. Music, pleasant sound is termed as music. So it is irregular vibration. As I already told you, the vibration wave pattern on the oscillation is not proper. It haphazard. Whereas music, there is a regular vibration. So music can be a soft music also. Music can be a loud music also. Like soft music, Indian classical music, a loud pop music. Okay. Both loud and soft can be a music. When the sound will be a music, when it is forming a regular pattern. Pattern is repeated. Okay. In the classroom, when you are used to come in the school, in the classroom when you speak loudly, all the children are speaking to one another. When the teacher is not there, that can call it a noise. In the market area, again it's a noise. A busy traffic road, again it can be a noise. One music produced by a different musical instrument, that can be a musical sound. Chirping of the birds can be a melodious sound. It can also be a nicely musical sound in that case. Okay, can you give me more examples of loud noise and music? Can you give me more examples? Yeah, another example will be traffic signals. During the traffic signal, you have that sound, that can be a noise. If you are striking a table with a rhythmic pattern, okay, sometimes used to play in the class by banging the desk, okay, but you are forming a beautiful nice pattern, that can be a musical sound also. Okay, musical sound may not be always playing by playing musical instrument. Okay, it can be any sound played forming a regular vibration. Okay, what are the causes of noise pollution? There are different causes of noise pollution. As I have already told you, vehicles can be a cause of noise pollution. Explosion can be a cause of noise pollution. Bursting of firecrackers, loud machine, loudspeaker, this can be the cause of noise pollution. Noise pollution created by loud television, loud music players, okay, that can be also a cause of noise pollution. Some kitchen appliances like mixer, grinder, air coolers, air conditioners, when you turn on these appliances, they also make the sound, so that can be a noise pollution. Now, what are the harmful effects of this noise pollution? Very, very important. When the noise pollution is there, human being cannot sleep. Okay, there is a lack of sleep. Okay, health. There are many health related issues that are associated with loud noise or noise pollution. So what is noise pollution? Presence of excessive or unwanted sound in the environment is termed as noise pollution. So what can be the causes? As I already told you, human being can be a cause, animals can be a cause of the noise pollution, explosion, bursting of firecrackers, loud music, machines, all these can be the cause of noise pollution. This noise pollution has some harmful effect on human body, and it can lead to several diseases. First of all, it can lead to lack of sleep, hypertension, okay, high blood pressure, then anxiety, okay, stress. All these are the health related issues that are associated with loud noise pollution. During Diwali festival, during Ganesh festival, people burst firecrackers to show the excitement, to show the happiness, but this bursting of firecrackers can be a cause of noise pollution. Although you are bursting crackers to show your happiness, to show your excitement, to show your joy, but that can be a cause of noise pollution, and that can be lead to harmful health related issues, especially elderly people. Okay, so if a person is exposed to loud sound continuously, what can happen? There can be temporary or permanently damage to the hearing capability, and you may have this hearing impairment, and then your ear may not function properly, and in that case you may have to put the auditory aids for the better hearing. Okay. Nowadays another cause that is associated with noise pollution is putting headphones. Okay, too much of headphones when you put, that is also not good for the health. What can happen? It can be headphone, you know that the surrounding other person cannot hear that sound if you are listening music over the headphone, the other person who is there in your name, that person cannot hear that, you can hear. That means that the sound is very very loud. It can also lead to temporary or permanent hearing impairment. So then be careful whenever you are using headphone. Do not use the headphone for too long time. Okay, what are the measures to limit the noise pollution? What can be done? Okay, certain like vehicles, there are vehicle silencers are there in the vehicle. If I hope you know there are silencers in vehicles which eliminate the noise. In industrial machine, silencers have been put so that the noise can be eliminated, noise limit can be reduced. In home appliances also, the use of certain devices or certain part will be there which will eliminate or reduce the noise that is being produced by that particular home appliances. Nowadays you have even the chimneys which are installed in the kitchen, okay, which function is to act as an exhaust. So noise free chimneys or noise less noise making chimneys, you get it in the market. Or mixer grinders also, nowadays when you buy you get which is making very less sound compared to the older mixer grinder which is to make very very loud sound. Okay, these are the different ways by which you can reduce the noise pollution. At home, when you're turning on the TV, what you can do? You can lower the sound of the TV, isn't it? If you're listening to the music or play or you're turn on the music, you can lower the volume so that you are not going to cause noise pollution. This noise pollution, you may like it, okay, loud, but elderly people, they may not like it and it's not good for their health also. So that's why you can reduce the noise. Okay, so also another way is by planting trees along the roadside and building also help in noise reduction. Okay, that's very very important. By planting trees along the roadsides and building, they help to reduce or eliminate the noise that is being produced, generated in their vicinity. Okay, so these are the causes, effects and the measures of the noise pollution. These are the different pictures wherein you will see the different causes of noise pollution. They are already given a different machines. Loudspeaker can be a cause of noise pollution. This is Ganesh possession. Okay, I'm not talking about celebrating a festival. Here we are speaking about how it can lead to a noise pollution. Bursting of crackers, explosion, certain appliances, air conditioner, air coolers, certain vehicles, all these are the causative agents of noise pollution. Okay, that's I already told you about audible sound wave and inaudible sound wave. That part is already done. With that, we have almost come to the end of the lesson. So, in yesterday's and today's session, what we have learned? We have learned about sound. We have learned about sources of sound. We have also seen how the sound is produced. Working of human voice box, that's the larynx. Then propagation of sound, characteristics of sound wave, human ear structure and function, audible and inaudible sound. And finally, we have learned about noise pollution, causes, its effect and prevention. Okay, with that, we have finished the chapter. I hope you have understood the entire lesson. If you are watching my videos for the first time, kindly hit on the like button if you like today's class. You can subscribe my channel if you are new to my channel. And you can comment in the comment section about the today's class. Thank you, students.